Hello everybody, this is the Casual Dex. I know I'm a little late to the hype train, but I wanted to be able to get into some of these spoilers from Commander Legends before everything completely passes, so I'm just going to go over the key cards and highlights of what I'm most excited about coming from this set. If you do like this kind of video, please consider commenting, leaving a like, or even subscribing to the channel. And if you don't mind, turn on the alerts so that way you can get the notifications for whenever another video of mine goes live. Do appreciate it, and it helps out the channel a lot. Anyway, going into the start off here with the with Commander Legends, we do have the announcement here officially that the box or buy a box promo is going to be Mana Confluence. Tap it and pay 1 life, and you can add any or a mana of any or 1 mana of any color of your choosing. Fantastic card. I'm happy that it's going to be printed to hell and back here when it comes to being a buy a box promo. I feel that everyone should realistically have access to this kind of card, even though it's not relatively all that expensive on its own as it is. I'm still happy more people are going to have access to it. Going into it, I am going to confront the elephants in the room here. Jeweled Lotus and Opposition Agent. I feel that a lot of people are way more angry than they need to be. A lot of people are overreacting on this. The Jeweled Lotus 0 mana artifact, I'm sure you're already very well aware of it. You tap it, sack it, adds 3 mana of any 1 color to your pool, and you can only cast or use it to cast your commander. I like this card a lot. I understand that a lot of people are angry, people are worried that it's going to just completely break everything. I feel that this card actually enhances the speed and just the early playability here when it comes to different types of commanders. It gives people more access and playability when it comes to the higher converted mana cost commanders, and it also just puts everything on turbo speed here when it comes to the lower costs. My favorite would be a turn 1 Najeela. Hilarious. I love it. It's going to make games go by faster. That's really it. People that have the card versus people that don't have the card, of course, it's going to be an advantage, but when has that ever been a difference when it comes to cards that other people can't obtain or just don't get lucky enough to be able to crack a pack on? It's anything. You can't just say, oh, Jeweled Lotus isn't going to be fair, because not everyone's going to have access to it. Everyone has the same equal access to it unless they're trying to buy it outside of opening it in a pack. Everyone has the same odds of opening it in a pack if they're buying them. Opposition Agent, I think, is hilarious. I'm very happy that now open blue mana isn't going to be the only thing that everyone needs to be afraid of. It's going to kill tutor decks. That's pretty much it. If you have a way to be able to recur it whenever you want because it has flash, it's always a beneficial thing as well. I like this card a lot. I understand people that play Sisay or whatever, the decks that want to tutor out everything that they do. This is going to gut them for the most part here. It is an intimidating card. I mean, you can turn 1 Dark Ritual into just completely destroying someone right off the start of the game, or just getting a really good setup off of it. But I like this card as well because tutoring has a risk to it, not just counterspells. This stops people from searching their decks whenever they want for whatever they want without having to take into consideration this card might be in someone's hand or in an area that someone can actually obtain it to stop them from tutoring, so there's more plans around it, and people aren't just going to be constantly, I'm going to turn 1 tutor, turn 2 tutor, turn 3 tutor, turn 4 I've already won by turn 3, or turn 4 is going to be where it's going to happen because I've tutored everything out of my deck that I need. I like it. A lot of people are pissed. I like both of these cards. I think they're great. I would be pretty annoyed if either of them ended up getting banned. But Rule 0 of Commander, if you don't want it in your play group, that's it. It's not in anyone's deck, so you don't have to worry about it. Keep playing your tutored to hell and back decks perfectly fine. I just personally don't run a lot of tutors. I like the unique nature of the game itself here, when you're not just searching your library for literally everything you want. It kind of makes you have to think more and just work with what you got. I know it's not as powerful. Obviously, tutors are going to make your deck a lot better, because you can just search out whatever you want whenever you need it if you have the ability to get it. It doubles your chances, essentially, being able to get the card in your hand or onto the battlefield, depending on the tutor that you're using. But I just don't like playing with them all that much. I like just kind of the random luck of the draw thing for me. It makes things more exciting. Tutoring everything out, yes, makes the game go by very fast, but it's just not my preferred play style. We've also got several reprints, a lot of new partners. Cascade is coming back. Monarch is coming back. Encore is a brand new mechanic that allows you to exile the card from the library. You create a copy of that card that you've just exiled for or with the Encore ability, and create a copy of that creature for each opponent, and it attacks them, if able to, and then it gets sacrificed at the end of the turn. That's awesome. I don't really have a whole lot of plans around it myself currently, but we still have plenty of cards to go. Encore could end up actually being a very, very powerful mechanic. I just haven't really thought of anything myself just yet. But with these reprints here, we've got Scroll Rack, Vampiric Tutor. Even though I just said I don't play with tutors all that much, I'm not going to say no to having a tutor. It's great for trading. A lot of people want tutors, especially when you start climbing into those higher power level groups and that kind of thing. There's never really going to be a problem with you selling or trading a tutor. Just bring it to your LGS if you don't want to use it. Trade it to someone who doesn't have it or really wants another copy, and then just get whatever else that you want if you're like me and just don't like playing with them all that much. Arkelos, Lagoon Mystic, Master Oogway, his time has come. We do have a turtle deck now. Enters the battlefield if it's tapped. Everything enters the battlefield tapped. If it's untapped, everything enters the battlefield untapped. I think this is going to be a hilarious card. Black, green, and blue, and 1 generic for its cost. 4 mana for a 2/4. I think this card is actually going to be fun. I think there are going to be builds, of course, that people are not going to like. I'm looking at you, Daniel, because I know what you're going to do with this deck, and I'm already going to tell you to stop. But I like it. I do think this is a cool card. Even if you're not using it as your commander, it's a cool effect to be able to have, especially, even if it is your commander, just build a deck where you can just force it to be tapped, or just attack with it when you need to, and that kind of thing. You can mess with an entire game. You have it tapped, and someone's playing like goblins, for an example. They're going to be wanting a lot of haste and a lot of attack triggers. You just tap the turtle, and they get to do their goblin shenanigans, and then they have to pass turn because they can't do anything with it. So it shuts those kinds of playstyles down when you want it to, and I think that's great. Again, Archaeum Weaver, it's going to be Mardu, red, white, and black here for a 2/3, and it has, for 1 red, white, and black, you can tap it, and you can sacrifice an enchantment, and return an enchantment from your graveyard back onto the battlefield. This is another one here. Brian, I'm going to tell you now, I'm tired of your artifact shenanigans. I'm tired of everything having indestructible, hexproof, shroud, every other magical keyword that you want to have by turn 3. Stop it. But I know you're going to build it anyway. I just might not be happy about playing with it. I might have to target you first. Krark, the Thumbless, I'm actually already planning a build for this. I haven't done anything with Coin Flip, but as you guys know from my Brawlin' and Shabraz video here, I have been recently starting to work with partners. I'm very happy that partner is going to be a heavily pushed mechanic in this game, or sorry, in this set. And yes, I'm going to probably end up building it here. I don't really know exactly what I'm going to pair with it for partner, but currently I am also considering one of the other cards that have been announced here. It's actually a reprint here through Kaidel, Chosen of Krufix. I feel red, blue, and green might not be a bad partner combo here, just for what I'm planning with this build. But if I do end up building it, that is one of the leading partners currently that I am considering to put with Krark. I think the coin flip thing is going to be great. Of course, his thumb, it needs to come back. It's going to be inflated to hell because of the announcement of this legendary, because it's almost essentially an auto-include just purely for flavor. It's funny, and it's just a good card. They have very good synergy, of course. So I'm looking forward to building that deck here if I do end up building it here. We do have a lot of the more higher power kind of realm reprinted commanders here that I do feel is long overdue. Yes, they're powerful. They're some of the most powerful cards in the game here. If you watch a lot of competitive Commander or anything like that, or just the really high power, high-end competitive level of the game, you're, of course, going to already know these guys, but I am happy that they're getting reprinted. I necessarily don't feel like I'm going to be building them all that much. I don't have a lot of interest in playing them myself, but they are enjoyable to play to an extent for me. But Timna the Weaver, Thrasios, Triton Hero, they're both getting reprinted in this set here. We do also have Vile Smasher the Fierce that's going to be getting reprinted. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for a lot of people. This set seems to, it's essentially going to be, I feel like it's going to be closing the gap between the financial standpoint here to a very small percentage, of course, because once you start getting into that higher power here, it does get very expensive very quick, unless you're a budget CEDH player playing like Savala Brostorm, or just whatever it is that you're doing. I've actually got a buddy on the Discord here that's he plays a lot of Savala, and he's got a pretty decent budget build here around it. I definitely like it a lot. We've also got Queen Marchessa. She's getting a reprint here. Nekazar the Mind Razor. I think is kind of funny that it's being reprinted here. I was actually going to build Nekazar the Mind Razor, and it was going to be a wheel deck, but as you had probably known here through if you've watched the Brawlin' and Bras video, I didn't put enough salt in the build, and so someone from the Into the 99 podcast over there, Daniel, had recommended that I play Brawlin' and Bras, and we just swapped out the black for some blue, or sorry, white, and now it's like one of my favorite decks right now. Probably the most powerful one that I have currently as well. Najeela is debatable, but I feel that Brawlin' and Bras is a lot more fun to me than Najeela. Just no one ever wanted to play against Najeela, so I ended up having to take the deck apart, unfortunately. Shadiki, the Usurper, is also getting a reprint here. We're going to be looking at Brago King Eternal, I think is a really cool card here that's going to be a lot of fun. The very first Commander deck that I ever had, the first Precon and Magic product that I ever purchased after being introduced to the game here was the Amanatu Fate Shifter Precon Commander deck, and so the bounce and blink mechanic here is something relatively familiar to me because of that. And I think this card's going to be hilarious here. It's 2/4 for 2 and a white-blue, so it's just an Azarus commander here. But it does have flying, and whenever it enters whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you exile any number of non-land permanents you control, then return them to the battlefield under its owner's control. So those decks here where you're putting permanents into other people's fields, you're just trading creatures or permanents, you can bounce them, bring them back into your battlefield, or if you just have a ton of enter the battlefield triggers, you just bounce everything, bring it back, and just set everything off all over again. I think this is going to be a really cool commander. I'm excited to see what a lot of people build. I may also consider building it myself, because I did take apart the Amanatu Precon, but having something that's like that bounce deck and that kind of thing, I think is kind of an amusing play style. I just didn't really enjoy it all that much with Amanatu, and I think that's mostly because I just typically don't like Planeswalker commanders. It's just not really my thing. I don't question their power, their potential. They're able to be commanders for a reason. I just don't really like playing with commanders that are Planeswalkers myself. Xenagos, God of Revels. That one's getting a reprint here. Leysa, Shroud of Dusk, is a 5/5 for 2 white, and a black. And rather than pay 2 for each previous time you've cast this spell from the Command Zone, this game you may pay 2 life instead, pay 2 life that many times instead here. And it does also have flying and lifelink, and whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 2 life. I do feel that this card is going to have a lot of powerful builds to it. It's of course going to be about the gain and drain side of the game itself. I do feel that this angel is going to end up being very powerful in the right build, but it also gives you a lot of different options for just playing around, playing very casually where there isn't a whole lot of win conditions, or cranking it up as much as possible here and just having it be a difficult to deal with kind of build. But being able to pay life on something that already has lifelink on it and flying, it's going to be easy to keep your life total up here. So paying the 2 life to be able to recast it avoids commander tax. It can help you out with keeping your actual mana resources open so you can cast your other creatures as well with this. I think it can actually get pretty powerful and pretty out of hand quickly myself. Najeela the Blade Blossom is also getting a reprint in this set. Very exciting. I do very much enjoy Najeela. No one wanted to play against the build though, which is understandable. There's only so many ways that you can do infinite combat steps before you kind of make people not want to play against it anymore, unless they're masochists or CEDH players, but I don't really play at a CEDH level myself, so finding that group of people that want to deal with Najeela is very difficult, so I took it apart like I had mentioned. But I may end up rebuilding it here, especially with the reprints. I actually get myself a real copy of the card here, as well as the turn 1 Najeela. That is a very, very obtainable option here with that Lotus Jeweled Lotus print here. Definitely an option now. Zurthy Enchanter is getting a reprint here. That one's a pretty popular commander. I've had a lot of people play it. Same with the next one here, Prosh, the Sky Raider of Care. Two commanders that I see very frequently. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited to have them be a bit more accessible here, but not exactly builds that I have any intentions of doing myself here. Just I have a kind of a particular play style a little bit. I've got a couple of things that I've been experimenting with as well, but it's just not really something that I'm very appealed to or attracted to currently. Through today's spoilers here, because of course today is Halloween, the time of here is this recording. I am behind, as I mentioned here, on the hype train, but my work schedule, it's better late than never here, so I'm doing the whole week just highlights instead of doing everything. Today's spoilers here, we do have Apex Devastator, 8 generic and 2 green for a 10/10 that has Cascade, 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 Cascade. 4 triggers of Cascade when you play this, and it's green. Granted, it's not a legendary, but realistically here, when is the green player actually concerned about generic mana costs? It's green. There's a lot of ramp, and there's a lot of mana reduction on top of it, so they can get out the big beating creatures super quickly, and this mixed in with the correct builds here, you could cascade into like a Craterhoof Behemoth, or Craterhoof. You could cascade into just some other nasty win condition, or just build a cascade deck with a couple of just progressively smaller converted mana costs, just win condition or combo. And granted, you have to draw or cascade into it, that kind of thing, in the right order. But if you get Apex Devastator out onto the field, that's a very high mana cost to be starting with right off the bat, and you have 4 triggers of Cascade as soon as it gets cast there, or resolves. That's insane. Even if you don't cascade into something that's a lower converted mana cost than it still has more triggers of Cascade to work with. You cascade into something else that has Cascade. You add another Cascade or trigger onto the stack, where you just keep going through your entire deck, just bottoming everything that you don't need now, and the next thing everyone knows is you've cheated out a 10 mana card that's a 10/10 with 4 triggers of Cascade on it, and you just get to like mow through your entire deck, and you just have a huge board state all of a sudden, where it's either answer it now, if you haven't won already. This card is going to be insane. I'm happy it's not a legendary, so it can't be a commander, but I still think this is going to be an absolute bonkers of a card here. But outside of me just turning this into a whole video about that card, because I am very excited about that, we do also have Court of Bounty. It's a 2 generic and 2 green enchantment that reads, when it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may also put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you're the monarch instead, you may put a creature or a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So this is going to let you cheat creatures into play. It's going to get extra land drops. We just had a set that has a whole lot of landfall in it. This card's going to go in a lot of decks. We do also have Arden, Intrepid Archaeologist, at uncommon rarity. For 2 and a white, for a 2/2, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of auras and equipment you control to target permanent or player, and it has partner. Equipment and enchantment aura decks are going to be absolutely insane. It is also a core spirit, so if you run a lot of core tribal, this very well may actually completely cause me to readjust my Siona Captain of Pylis deck. I haven't done anything on it here in a while. I haven't played it in a while because I do feel that it is still very underpowered. Even from a casual level, it's a very unfamiliar strategy to me. But this kind of gives me a bit more of an idea of where I want to go with that deck here. Potentially. I'm not sure here for certain currently. But it does look like a fun card here. Does put all of the eggs in one basket, so removal can end up getting rid of a lot of things unless you're just running a complete equipment playstyle here. But this card could even go into the 99 here if you're playing that. I can't remember the name of the card right now, but it's the Let me know in the comments here. Of course, I'm going to look it up after this recording here. But what's that that Knight tribal deck that everyone plays? It's just a bunch of equipments. I can't remember. We'll just move on here. The last card here, it's not the most exciting card, really, but I do think it is pretty cool. I like the options that you could potentially have with this build, and I'm sure a lot of Gruul fans are going to like it as well here. Hans Eriksson, 2 generic and a red and a green here for Gruul colors for a 1/4, and I'm going to bring this page up here so I can actually read it. It's whenever Hans Eriksson attacks, reveal top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield tapped and attacking the defending player or planeswalker they control. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. When you put a creature card onto the battlefield, it fights Hans Eriksson. With that card here, you just put some protection from spells on it, or just kind of ways to be able to protect it from ending up dying. It doesn't matter what you throw onto the battlefield at that point. It's another commander where you just cheat everything into play. Outside of that here, currently based off of the spoilers for the time being, that's all I've got right now. This is also a 20-minute video here, so I have definitely had quite a bit to cover here. I could have also gone over some things with a little bit more detail, but I am trying to just kind of speed through it here. Granted, it's a spoilers video. It's me just covering some of the announcements here for a set that I am very excited for, but in a couple of months here, no one's going to be watching the video anyway. So don't really feel the need to do anything that's too extravagant here. But I will try to get some videos up here more frequently. I'm kind of scheduling some time around a little bit more, kind of give myself some time to actually be able to get some stuff going here more frequently. But during spoiler season here, I'm likely here just to kind of keep doing this kind of thing again. Just go over the week, unless I have extra time on like a Wednesday on my day off to be able to continue working on something. But for now here, it's been great. I am Casual Dex. I do appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Comment down below here. Let me know what cards you're excited for. Let me know what I've completely glossed over here. What mechanic are you the most excited for with this set here? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how hype are you about this set here? Because I honestly feel this is one of the best products that has been released this entire year, or even potentially in the last couple of years, especially when it comes to Commander. I am very excited about this set. I've been poring over the spoilers here as they come through, but I do appreciate you guys watching. Have a great day.